Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Flora Nanda. I lead the technology division of blockchain practice of Pfizer. I am going to present to you state of blockchain in enterprises and highlights of few healthcare use cases that we are involved in and what is going on in the market. Before moving on to the details, this is the disclaimer. What it basically says is, whatever I say and present here, that is solely my opinion. Pfizer has nothing to do with it. I'm going to organize today's presentation under different sections. First is how does blockchain add value to enterprises, followed by use cases of enterprise blockchain, then highlights of few healthcare use cases, followed by bottlenecks and solution. Finally, the Gartner hype cycle from 2021. So how does blockchain add value to enterprises? We all have witnessed the rapid pace the public blockchain adoption is moving forward with. However, we have not yet noticed or witnessed the same pace in enterprise adoption. Rather, it is very slow. We will talk about the bottlenecks and solutions in the later part of the presentation. But irrespective of the pace, blockchain brings a lot of value and promises to enterprises. Let's see few of those. Blockchain matters because no business operates in isolation. Almost every business needs upstream and downstream partners. So multiple institutions can achieve more together than any single institution can alone. It is no more divide and conquer. It is together we win. If our partners are powerful, we are powerful. Trustless. Why? Don't we trust each other in the current status? No, not because business partners don't trust each other, but because they don't have to. Disruptive properties of blockchain like transparency, immutability, security, consensus, and smart contracts can be leveraged to solve multitude of business problems. Cost savings. This is a very lucrative feature on multiple grounds. Reduced operating costs due to shared platform and shared cost. Increased speed, efficiency due to common data and communication standards, thereby increasing throughput and increasing productivity of the system. Decreased overhead and bottlenecks as siloed and disparate systems are replaced by decentralized systems, thereby reducing disputes and the time required for dispute resolution. Eliminates the need for third parties or middlemen to verify transaction, reducing cost for middlemen and having more control over the data. Blockchain is a powerful technology itself. However, there are other powerful emerging technologies like AI, zero-knowledge proof, homomorphic encryption, trusted execution environment. Blockchain can be clubbed with all these technologies to drive automation and derive predictive and cognitive insights from the data, preserve data privacy, provides data security, etc. Now let's see different use cases enterprises can use blockchain for. The first one is digital assets. The hot topics, the trends or the buzzwords are NFTs and metaverse. These are actually derivatives of blockchain technologies. But can these hot topics in NFTs and metaverse be used by the enterprises for their use cases? The answer is yes. We can use NFTs for patents and lease these patents and monetize it using tokens. We can use metaverse for virtual reality and engage with digital customers. Every business has a digital presence and digital customer base. Even we have digital therapeutics nowadays. We can do asset management using decentralized finance and tokenization. The next use case is multi-party business process automation. Best example of this use case is contract management. When a business enters into a contract, always there are multiple parties involved. Once the contract is signed, every party takes the contract, codifies in their disparate or siloed system as per their own understanding. The result is always a lot of disputes, lot of time consumed in dispute resolution, and eventually revenue leakage. All these problems can be avoided using blockchain smart contract concept. We can codify the contract language in a smart contract, thereby finding the same result for all the parties involved in the contract. No dispute resolution time, and no revenue leakage. The next one is shared data. The best example of this use case is supply chain track and trace. We all know that in a supply chain, a product passes through multiple hands during its life cycle. And every time it passes through one hand, there are a lot of changes to its status and different attributes. Using blockchain technology, we can share all the status changes and attribute changes with all the partners involved in that product's value chain. Thereby, all the partners can derive meaningful insights from this data and be proactive, strengthening the supply chain, making the supply chain robust and resilient. With the COVID and Ukraine war, the supply chain is impacted heavily, but this kind of blockchain shared data solution can make the supply chain more resilient. The next one is data integrity. The best example of it is timestamp document hash. Oftentimes, in order to derive some result or assess some reports, we depend on historical documents. But the major question in accessing the historical document is, has it been compromised? Is the integrity maintained? The good news is that we can use blockchain to capture the timestamp hash value of the document in the distributed ledger. And in a later point of time, we can derive the document hash and compare it against the blockchain data stored, timestamp blockchain hash stored, and derive whether the integrity has been maintained or compromised. The last one is verifiable credentials. The best example of it is supplier onboarding. Suppliers and vendors are the backbone of the businesses. But every time a supplier has to be onboarded in an organization, it has to go through a supplier verification process or credential verification process, which is a time-consuming process. And the supplier has to go through this process with every organization it is onboarded to. And every organization, before onboarding a supplier, irrespective of its verification status by other organizations, has to verify the credential. So if you can multiply these numbers, this would be huge. And a lot of time can be saved using blockchain technology by capturing the verified credential in the distributed ledger and accessing these credentials or verified credentials by the interested business or the cross-industry partners. There would be two birds killed in one stone. First thing is that supplier onboarding time would be reduced, and second thing is that the shared verified credentials can be commercialized in a marketplace. Now let's see highlights of few healthcare use cases. The first one is PharmaLedger. This is a EU consortium project with 12 global pharmaceutical companies and 17 public and private entities, including technical, legal, regulatory, academia, research, and patient representative organizations. Pfizer is part of this consortium. And this is sponsored by the Innovative Medicines Initiative and the European Federation of Pharmaceutical Industries and Association, EPIA. The goal of this project is to create a scalable, sustainable, beyond state-of-the-art blockchain platform for healthcare solutions. There are different set of use cases under this umbrella projects. Few are under supply chain, some are under clinical trial, and few are under health data management. The next use case is MediLedger project. This is a startup-led consortium project. There are different pharma companies like Pfizer, Genentech, Gilead, wholesalers like Cardinal Health, McKesson, FFF, GPOs like Premier. This solution is to streamline wholesaler contracting and chargeback process to reduce dispute and revenue leakage. This is under the example of multi-party business process automation that we already spoke about in our use cases. There are a few other initiatives as well going on in the market. The first one is Avanir Health. It is a private, secure, and trusted technical healthcare network using blockchain technologies. Different partners are there: IBM, Aetna, Anthem, POC, etc. Here, the stakeholders can collaborate to streamline and improve the healthcare experience while increasing administrative efficiency or reducing administrative burden. The next one is ProCredence. It is about healthcare credentialing. In actually healthcare system, credentialing is crippled by redundancy, delays, inefficiency, and errors. ProCredence eliminates these inefficiencies by providing a healthcare credentialing solution using distributed ledger technology. During COVID time, this importance is felt as there is a need to expedite the credential validation process to onboard the SCPs. This was a very helpful solution, and it is an example of verified credentials in our use case slide. Now let's talk about bottlenecks and proposed solutions. The contents in this slide are not from any textbook, not from any research. This is solely from my personal experience. The first point is getting all the partners onboarded. Blockchain is an emerging technology. It brings promises and values to the enterprises. However, it is a team sport. In order to obtain the true potential of blockchain, we need to have network effect. That means we have to onboard the partners in the blockchain network. There lies the problem. It is very difficult to onboard all the partners. So what was the mitigation? We can try with MVEs, minimum viable ecosystem. Instead of onboarding all the partners, we will start with minimal set of partners. We can start small and roll out in phases instead of trying to incorporate all the features from the beginning. Design the governance structure from the get-go to align with the business principles and requirements. We have to think beyond permission blockchain because a lot of energy is spent in the permission blockchain to spin up the network. But we already have a public blockchain with a lot of network nodes running in that blockchain. We can focus on solving business problems using the public blockchain. For example, instead of spinning up an explicit permission blockchain for a document hash, we can put the timestamp document hash in a public blockchain. Next one is lack of understanding of the technology. Oftentimes, both in business and IT, there is a varied level of understanding of the technology. So if these two key stakeholders do not understand the technology properly, the use cases proposed will not fit for the promises that the blockchain brings. How can we mitigate this? We have to organize blockchain trainings with real business problems, thereby business and IT can understand the technology better. We can invite startups to understand new and innovative solutions using blockchain technology, thereby broadening our vision about blockchain. The last point is difficult to get business buy-in. So how can we mitigate this problem? We have to prepare a consortium pitch for business with clear ROI for all partners. This solution is no more your solution, my solution, it is our solution. It cannot be an individual pitch deck. It has to be a consortium pitch deck. Clear articulation of current as well as future benefits and alignment of the solution with a real business problem, short term or long term. Let's see what Gartner Hype Cycle says from 2021. I'm not going to go through all the details of this hype cycle. However, the good news is that I see so many concepts of the blockchain is in the slope of enlightenment already, like cryptocurrencies, decentralized applications, and blockchain wallets. One particular thing caught my eyes in this hype cycle explanation is acceptance of public blockchain in enterprise use cases. What it said is, we meaning Gartner, projects that by 2023, 35% of enterprise blockchain applications will integrate with decentralized applications and services. The rewards are simply too high to ignore and are far greater than the costs. This aligns with our mitigation strategy in bottleneck and solutions, where we mentioned instead of focusing on permission blockchain, move towards business problems that can be solved by public blockchain. This brings us to the end of my slides. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you will use our learnings in steering your blockchain initiatives. Thank you again and have a good day ahead.